Hello my beautiful nerds. Let's talk about bad guys. There's been a lot of memorable supervillains in film history, and I felt like going over all of my favorites. The rules of this list are simple. Each slot is reserved for one villain from one universe. The villain can be from more than one film, but it has to be within the same continuity. So if I said Ronin, that'd be fine because he's been in 2 movies in the same universe. But if I were to say Two-Face, it'd have to be from Batman Forever or The Dark Knight, not both. That makes sense? Wait, why did I ask you? You can't answer. Anyway, let's get to the list.
And here we
Number 10, The Vulture. Tom Holland gets a lot of love for being the best live-action Spidey we've ever had, but those movies do a lot of things right, including, but not limited to, their villains. Mysterio was awesome in Far From Home, but I gotta give it to the Vulture from Homecoming. Michael Keaton does a fantastic job of bringing this character to life. Even though the character is very different than the Tombs from the comics, he's very well written. I mean, he loses the biggest job of his career to the freaking good guys. Of course he's mad about it. The acting is phenomenal, the design of the suit is awesome and legitimately scary, and this moment in the car just still gives me chills. Number 9, Hela.
It's come to my attention that you don't know who I am.
Cate Blanchett is having all of the fun in this movie. She's so charismatic and fun to watch. Something all the villains on this list have in common, they all have an understandable point of view. Hela spent the majority of her existence slaughtering half of the known universe with her pops. You get why she'd be upset when Odin up and decide one day that he doesn't want to kill innocent people anymore, and then locks her up in a crazy space magic dungeon thingy. Hela is so fucking dope, and I really hope we haven't seen the last of her. I mean, you can't kill death, right? Number 8, Loki. Thor is a good movie. Thor: The Dark World is a piece of shit, so people forget how good the first one is. It's the reason people love Loki so much. He's good in Avengers, but he's barely in that movie. All the important stuff about his character is revealed in Thor's first movie. Loki was adopted and isn't actually Thor's brother. In the middle of this huge war, Odin kind of killed Loki's entire alien family and kidnapped him as a baby. When Loki finds this out as an adult, he has the identity crisis that you would expect from an already mentally unstable, narcissistic wizard. He has a really great arc over the course of the MCU. He falls a few slots because he's only a villain for like 2 out of the 5 movies he's in. Also, that Loki show sounds dumb as fuck. Number 7, Adrian Veidt. There are a lot of feelings about this movie. I have to put Adrian high on the list because he's one of the few villains ever to actually succeed in his plan. The whole hero versus villain game is pretty predictable at this point. Nowadays, we kind of tune in to see how the heroes will come out on top at the end, not necessarily if they will. We already know they're gonna win. That's almost a foregone conclusion, which is what makes the ending of Watchmen so fucking insane. The heroes lose, and because of that, the world is saved. The world's leaders were moments away from nuking each other into the Stone Age, but thanks to everyone's fear of an extraterrestrial threat, everyone just chills out and decides to love each other.
Everyone's gonna know what you've done. Will they? By exposing me, you would sacrifice the peace suddenly died for today.
Peace based on a lie.
But peace, nonetheless. He's right.
I mean, of course, now we know that something like, say, a global pandemic killing thousands of people isn't enough to make people put away their prejudices and look out for their fellow man and stop being ignorant and hateful and total pieces of shit. But still, it's a nice sentiment. Number 6, Magneto. Both Ian McKellen and Michael Fassbender have had some stellar performances as Magneto. Magneto's family was killed by Nazis, so he knows exactly how hateful humanity can be. And to his credit, humans are always trying to fucking kill mutants. But unlike his super passive buddy Chuck, he has no interest in turning the other cheek.
Stay out of my way.
Sorry. I can't let you go in there.
You're always sorry, Charles. And there's always a speech. But nobody cares anymore.
He's the Malcolm X to Charles Xavier's Martin Luther King. Except for the fact that he straight up wants to
kill all humans.
Dude is dealing with a lot of issues. Because he's so smart and ambitious, he probably would have ended up more like Charles if he had a real support system helping him hone his powers as a kid, instead of a psycho Nazi murderer. Number 5, Catwoman.
Meow.
Michelle Pfeiffer's performance in this movie is criminally underrated. The costume is iconic, and her personality shift from pre to post accident is incredible. Her powers don't really make any fucking sense, but it doesn't really matter. What really sells it all is the relationship between her and Bruce. Anne Hathaway as Selena Kyle was great, but there was something lacking in her relationship with Christian Bale's Bruce Wayne. In Batman Returns, it really seems like they get to know each other and have found the yin to each other's yang. Like, they fall in love with each other in and out of costume before they even find out who each other are. And I don't know why, but this moment is so cute to me.
The mistletoe. You know, mistletoe can be deadly if you eat it.
A kiss can be even deadly.
Can be even deadlier if you mean it.
If you mean it.
Oh my God. Does this mean we have to start fighting?
I wish he could have been in 10 Batman movies, but I guess one of the things that makes performance so great is that it left us all wanting more. Number 4, Iron Man, Civil War. That's right, I went there. Civil War is a weird fucking movie with a weird story. For years, these two guys have been fighting on the same side, brothers in arms during the most calamitous calamities that have ever befallen mankind. But they never really liked each other, because they're very different people. They're Will Turner and Jack Sparrow. They just don't think the same.
Isn't that the mission? Isn't that the why we fight? So we can end the fight, so we get to go home?
Every time someone tries to win a war before it starts, innocent people die. Every time.
Civil War kind of starts out like other movies where we see the villains suffer some sort of trauma that sets them on the road of wrongdoing. We get a taste of Tony's creeping paranoia in Age of Ultron, but after getting confronted by Black Mariah, he goes full villain 1984 style. A combination of PTSD and guilt has him acting irrationally and irresponsibly. He wants to do the right thing, but he's going about it the wrong way. He even manipulates a kid into fighting on his side. And in the end, his motivations are purely emotional and have nothing to do with the greater good. They should both be trying to capture this mass murderer, but instead he's just trying to avenge his family. You get it, but I mean, come on, man, that's not cool.
This isn't gonna change what happened. I don't care. He killed my mom.
I do wish they followed up on some of the stuff from this movie a bit, but whatever, I can't complain. They gave me this moment, so I don't care so much about that other stuff. Civil War is not your typical superhero movie, Cap is not your typical hero, and Tony isn't your typical mustache-twirling bad guy, but he's definitely the villain of this flick. Thanos. Thick Thanos shocked the world when he did the thing. But what's wonderful about him is that we hear about his character for several movies before our heroes even meet him. He's what Orson Welles calls
Star part. Well, you know what a star part is. He says that's where they talk about you for an hour and then you appear.
As other characters continue to describe him, the audience builds them up in their mind. So when they finally make their appearance, it's, and I hate to say this word, but here it totally applies, epic. So he not only tears through the Avengers sub-team by sub-team, his drive and intelligence is probably the most terrifying thing about him. He's so determined to accomplish his goal, he'll do the unthinkable. He's stronger, faster, and more committed than our heroes, and that's why they get their asses kicked so bad the first time.
This universe is finite, its resources finite. If life is left unchecked, life will cease to exist. It needs correction.
You don't know that!
I'm the only one who knows that. At least I'm the only one with the will to act on it.
Joker. Every iconic superhero has two different kind of villains. The one who's their match physically, and the one who's their match mentally. Superman has Darkseid and Lex Luthor. Batman has Ra's al Ghul and the Joker. The reaction to the Infinity War was insane, but the reaction to The Dark Knight was not only unprecedented, it was a whole different monster. No one saw Heath Ledger's performance as the Joker coming, and a lot of people didn't think Ledger was right for the role. I was skeptical too. I mean, the only thing I had seen him in at that point was Knight's Tale and 10 Things I Hate About You. But I also just saw Robert Downey Jr. rise from obscurity and deliver the performance of his career as Iron Man. So this didn't seem that far-fetched. This was such a nuanced performance. Ledger talks in the voice of the Joker as if it's his first language, and the character has an air of unpredictability every time he's on screen.
It's gone.
He gives me goosebumps this entire flick, and it's just a tragic shame that we never got to see him reprise his role in the third installment.
This town deserves a better class of criminal, and I'm gonna give it to him.
Number 1, Killmonger.
Hey, Auntie.
Eric Killmonger is absolutely the best bad guy ever. The first time I saw Black Panther, I was fucking floored. First off, it seems like it's going to be a 2-villain movie, but Killmonger himself murks the other villain at the top of the second act. Not only was it surprising, it made for a more interesting dynamic. Evil white guy versus good black guy seemed boringly easy. Not to say the Claw wasn't great. I'm kind of sad we don't get to see Circus as Claw again, but the movie is so much better for focusing on Eric as the big bad.
You know where I'm from. When black folks started revolutions, they never had the firepower or the resources to fight their oppressors. Where was Wakanda? You know, that ends today.
There are a lot of things to love about the movie, but much like The Dark Knight, in this movie, the villain is way cooler than the hero. Arguably, the best thing about Killmonger is that he's kinda right. Again, you can say that about a lot of characters on this list, but Killmonger is the only one who has an effect on the hero's point of view.
Y'all sitting up here comfortable. Must feel good. It's about 2 billion people all over the world that looks like us, but their lives are a lot harder. Wakanda has the tools to liberate them all.
He argues that Wakanda, with all of its wealth and technology, should liberate black people around the world. T'Challa wants Wakanda to stay hidden from the rest of the world because, well, white people do stuff like this. Now, Killmonger wants to go about it in a more of an ethnic cleansing way, but he still makes T'Challa realize that Wakanda can't go on hiding from the rest of the world. Also, like Adrian Veidt and Thanos, he actually succeeded. Killmonger worked his entire life to make it to his homeland of Wakanda and take the throne in legitimate combat, and he did. You can tell pretty early on in the first fight with Black Panther that he wants it way more than T'Challa does. Michael Jordan plays Killmonger's anger, pain, and devil-may-care attitude to make for a character that you really empathize with. And this will forever be the most gangster shit anyone will ever say in a Disney movie.
Maybe we can still heal you. Why? So you could just lock me up? Nah. Just bury me in the ocean with my ancestors that jumped from the ships. Because they knew death was better than bondage.
Okay, that's my list. What'd you think? You can actually answer this question. Just leave a comment and tell me what your favorite movie villain is. I may do a best superheroes list too, so if you have a favorite cape, let me know about that too. Stay safe, my little henchmen, and may the force be with you.